listening to Raw and Nerdy.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of your favorite podcast, Raw and Nerdy. I'm Rook.
And I'm Archon.
And today, we've got a good one. So, hey, Archon, serious question for you, though. Which sci-fi universe really sucked you in and really made you want to live in that universe as you're growing up?
I don't know, but what is Riverside doing right now? Like, as soon as you hit the play button, it like zoomed in on our faces. Like, it's like what the heck happened? I feel like
It really likes us.
I feel like I should sit back or something. You can see like every inch of my face. Sci-fi universe sucked me in. Oh man, dude, there's so many good sci-fi universes out there. I don't know. I've always been a big Star Wars fan, but I don't know if I'd want to live in that universe. That universe is kind of scary, dude. You go and let me think.
All right. So it sounds like you got a few in your mind that you're thinking of. For me, it's always been Star Trek. I got sucked into Star Trek when I was young. I got sucked into it when I was young. I would always thought what it would be like to actually live on a ship in Star Trek. And so that's the one that sucked me in. And that's one I would live in if I could.
Man, I just like there's so many good ones out there. I mean, depends on like what you mean by science fiction. Like science fiction is so broad. I mean, the Marvel movies could be science fiction because there's a lot of stuff in that could never happen. Like it's just science fiction.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want to live in the Marvel universe either because everything gets blown up and like it seems like every science fiction universe is so bad.
Hold on. When it comes to Marvel, I wouldn't want to live in New York.
Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not. And like, I mean, the Star Wars universe. We could be living in the Star Wars universe for all we know, because the Star Wars universe takes place in a galaxy far, far away a long, long time ago. So we wouldn't even know if we were living in the Star Wars universe.
Sir, you use too many longs. It's not a long, long time ago. It's only a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Anyways.
Okay, so the reason that was brought up is, what if I told you that none of those worlds would have probably existed if it wasn't for a novel written about 200 years ago?
Well, considering that's basically what this episode's about, like, and I already knew that, I would be like, yeah, you're right. I mean, fair enough.
All right, so yeah, our topic today is the evolution of sci-fi, and a lot of us believe, or not a lot of us, but a lot of people believe that Mary Shelley's Frankenstein is arguably the first published novel or published piece of science fiction, because it is about putting bodies together and using electricity to bring it back to life and all that. It is a sci-fi novel. It's a sci-fi horror novel if you look at it. Its core concept.
Is it science fiction though? Because I mean, how many times a year do they take somebody else's heart and put it in somebody else's body and then use electricity to bring them back to life?
All right.
I mean, it's not wrong.
All right. So since neither of us have a
creepy monster, but like
so since neither of us really, I'm guessing you don't have a lot to talk about on your week.
I mean, not really, because all I did was work.
Okay, and that's pretty much all I did. I spent some time getting Streamlabs. I switched from OBS to Streamlabs for my streaming, and I spent a couple hours today getting it set up so I could actually stream between both YouTube and Twitch. So that's all set up.
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing some EverQuest too, because they came out with a new TLP server, and me and my buddies were like, "Hey, we should play that, and we kind of have, and that's about all I've been doing. What is that picture on your wall back there?
Which one?
The one that looks creepy? At least in the stream.
I got a picture there.
No, it's the one in the top corner that looks like a weird
one.
No, over
that one
right there.
You remember that Asian artist?
Looks creepy. It looks like a weird, creepy, like demonic face.
No, that's the two dragons that are snuggled up against each other.
Oh, well, from my side, I see a creepy face. Sorry, it was distracting. I looked up and I was like, "What is that?" Like something out of like The Ring or something.
That's two dragons. You could see it better if I didn't have an orange light on and I had a regular light. But my lights are set to orange right now. So, all right. So, the evolution of sci-fi. We're going to go in a series of questions and we're just going to talk about it. So, when you think of science fiction, what's the first thing that comes to mind, and how far back do you think the genre actually goes? Now, we have discussed Frankenstein as possibly, at the time, let's see, first open heart surgery was in the 1700s, I believe. But the first transplant, I don't think was until a lot later. Mm-hmm. So Frankenstein at the time would be considered science fiction because nobody thought you could take body parts from one and put it on another at the time. You think about it. But, and since we started with Frankenstein, and a lot of people, when you think sci-fi, the first things that pop in the head is Star Wars, Star Trek, or Firefly, or in some cases, The Expanse, which is a pretty good one too. We said Frankenstein possibly, but there are a group of people out there that believe if you look at ancient hieroglyphics, I can't say that word today. People back in ancient times wrote about what they saw in the aspect of what they knew. So, like, a flying saucer or a spaceship bringing somebody down to the planet could have been a flying chariot, is what they will have called it. So there's a group of people that think back in ancient times is the recorded time of the first sci-fi. But as far as I can verifiably say, a lot of people agree is Frankenstein. But you also have, if you don't believe in Frankenstein, you got H.G. Wells, who's the author of The Time Machine and The War of the Worlds. And then you also have Jules Verne, who wrote 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and The Journey to the Center of the Earth. And then you have Heinlein. I forgot what he wrote because I didn't put his name on here.
Wow. Wow.
No.
Yeah. See, when I think early sci-fi, I always think like War of the Worlds. That's the one that comes to my head because that's the one that like was like the first radio program, except they didn't tell people it wasn't real. So everyone thought that this thing was really happening and that like the aliens were invading our world, and like it was, it was like the first big leap into sci-fi. That's what I consider. See, I consider like Frankenstein and all that. Yeah, there's some like science to it, but it's like mostly like a horror. I would put that more in the horror category than I would put that in the science fiction category.
Yeah, and I was wrong. The third godfather of sci-fi is Hugo Gernsback, who is credited as the father of modern science, and he founded, I don't know if it, a magazine called Amazing Stories in 1926, and he's the one for the Hugo Awards named after.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so there are people out there that would say that. But the question is does science fiction require technology, though?
Not necessarily. Because, like, even World of the Worlds wasn't about technology. It was about aliens. And that was, like, foreign to everybody because it was, like, they thought we were being invaded by another planet, which was kind of, like, that's not necessarily technology-based. I mean, it is because they had to get here somehow in spaceships or whatnot, but, like,
Yeah.
it's more about the act of, another set of sentient beings out there that could come take over our world.
Yeah, that's true. And I don't think sci-fi needs technology, but if you look at sci-fi in that sense, you can look at it as going back in time to, say, we start with Frankenstein and take Frankenstein. It's a lot of sci-fi stories through the decades, starting with Frankenstein, actually talked about the human condition at that time. They examined humanity at its core in each of these different aspects of humanity. And you still see that in today's sci-fi as well.
Mm-hmm.
All
Especially
right.
Firefly.
Yeah. Question 2. Do you think sci-fi started out more optimistic or more pessimistic?
I would say optimistic.
I would have to agree, because the World of Worlds was optimistic about humans surviving an alien attack, even though it was bacteria that killed the aliens.
It seems to be always, like, in every big sci-fi type thing, it's always the humans surviving and how they do. Like,
oh wow, that's actually a good one. I've never thought of that, but you're right. And a lot of it, all the ones were, humans surviving. Let's jump to my favorite genre, Star Trek. Star Trek Voyager. It's about how not just humans, but a culture survives being thrown 70,000 light years away from everything they know.
right.
And holding true to their core values and all that. Technology is really an opportunity to explore that aspect of the stories, if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, but, like, if you, like, really think about, like, Independence Day,
Mm-hmm.
it's about aliens invading Earth and how we stop them.
Yeah.
Even though they're way technologically more advanced than us, we still find a way to stop them. And, like, I don't know. Also, it seems like any sci-fi is that way. Like, unless it's completely set in space, like Star Wars or Star Trek, or, I mean, even Star Trek a little bit, like you said, or like Dune. But it's like, it's always about the primary race getting invaded by something and how they overcome. That seems to be the theme of a lot of science fiction, except Back to the Future, which is arguably one of the best sci-fi movies of all time.
I don't know. Because,
What don't you know?
All right. Yeah, I'll agree. I'll agree on the point that when it comes to sci-fi technology, yeah, Back to the Future is one of the best sci-fi.
Okay. I thought you were going to try to argue that point, and we were going to have problems, because Back to the Future is arguably one of the best sci-fi.
Now, there is a lot of sci-fi out there that is more pessimistic, and there's a lot of sci-fis out there about technology being a danger, a la Terminator, not Transporter, Terminator.
Well, I thought you were going to say Transformers, which also is the same thing.
Yeah, true. It is the same thing.
But yes, Terminator, iRobot.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of movies out there that depict the fact
2001: Space Odyssey.
Putting too much intelligence into robots is not a good thing.
Unless you're talking about Spaceballs, and then having a smart robot's probably better.
But then Nowadays, you got people like, okay, so for instance, I'm playing EverQuest, right, with my buddies, and they're like, here, let me go ask the AI what they think about which class I should play.
See, when it comes to RPGs, you shouldn't be asking AI anything. And that's why I'm liking the fact that there's games out there that are actually starting to say, hey, this game features stuff created by AI. And then watching those numbers just tank.
Oh, man. I want to. It's such a door to open, but like,
it is.
I don't know. It's like if you shouldn't have to ask AI what type of character you want to play. Like, if we're getting to the point where we can't play video games without having AI tell us how to play it, that's a problem because video games are meant to be something that you play for you to have fun.
So I used the AI, and this is me using AI as an opportunity and as being optimistic with AI. I used it as a tool. I had a character concept in Pathfinder. I had it in my head. I have a hard time taking some ideas I have in my head and putting them on paper. So what I did was I said, hey, ChatGPT, here's my concept. Help me flesh it out. And ChatGPT goes, all right, here's an outline. What do you like and what you don't like? And I would start going through it. It's like, I like these. And then it starts letting me focus my thoughts into the cohesive story. And I'm like, all right, here's what I'm thinking. It's like, all right, now, do you want this? Or do you think it would go this way? And she would just give me prompts, treating me like an AI to figure out how to.
The problem is the more advanced the AI gets, the more useless humanity becomes.
See, I come up with really good backstories. I just had it help me flesh out the concept of the backstory I had, and it created a new, more cohesive, not all over the place one that I didn't have to spend like a research paper amount of time reviewing. All right, so we are talking about how it's optimistic or pessimistic. And the reason why I bring that up is because a lot of sci-fi talks about the ideals at that time, and where they would like to see humanity go based on those authors. But when did it transition from being about ideas and going straight into action entertainment? Because a lot of sci-fi these days, you see a lot of the rehash of the old ideals, but it's a lot of action, a lot of in-your-face flashes and stuff like that. So, question 3: if you had to invent science fiction from scratch as entertainment, what would you put in it? And I'm not going to say the time frame like I brought it up to you before. I'm going to say 1930s or newer. If you had to create a sci-fi fantasy from scratch, what would you put in it?
Man. So first, I'm going to answer your question that you had before. Okay, this is you asked a question, but then you said that the next question was a different question. Your question was, when did it go from being, what it was to being like flashy, in your face action, blah blah blah, wah wah. That
Yeah.
Michael Bay.
Yes.
Like Michael Bay. That's when it did that.
Yeah, because you did.
When Michael Bay got his hands on movies, it became all about the action and less about the sci-fi.
Yeah, because even Terminator, I'm gonna use Terminator a bit because Terminator wasn't really flashing in your face. It was a lot of character development of the kid and the story development.
Yeah, same with Back to the Future.
There wasn't a lot. Well, Back to the Future where you had hoverboards and stuff like that, but that wasn't
flashy and in your face, and it wasn't like huge amounts of action or anything like that. It was like an action scene in that movie was Biff driving his car into the manure. I mean, like, ooh, big action. Or him running from Biff. Like, it wasn't like explosions and CGI.
Yeah, see, I'll agree with that one because Michael Bay, even Jurassic Park and E.T. weren't as in your face. Star Wars wasn't as in your face.
Yeah, there was definitely action, but it was an appropriate amount of action. It wasn't like over the
Nonstop.
top. Yeah, over the top.
So, based on all of that and what you know now with sci-fi and how it's gone now, say you were in the 30s, 40s, 50s, what would you put in it? And would you try guiding it from being flashy in your face or make it more like it developed where it was about the
See,
ideals and stuff?
I would make a movie about a car that could go back in time, and this kid who finds this car and accidentally goes back into. I'm telling you, that's the perfect movie. It just really is, because it's got every element you need to be the perfect movie in it, and I don't think that there's a better iteration of a sci-fi movie out there. So if I was going to build a perfect sci-fi movie, I would build the first Back to the Future movie, because it was great.
So I'm going to use Star Trek again.
I know you are.
If I was building one in the 30s, I would do exactly what Captain Cosmos did when Tom Paris went and did the old sci-fi robot little thing on the holodeck. That is what I think of would be a 1930s or 40s sci-fi show. So, like I said, we say some people say Frankenstein was the start of sci-fi, but would you be surprised if I told you that in the 30s there were a few really big top comic strips that were already
No.
tackling this idea? So you had
Yeah.
you had a comic strip that started in 1929 called Buck Rogers. There's also a 1939 film about it. And that comic strip ended in 1967. Now, here's the one that got me. Flash Gordon started in the 30s.
Yeah.
And it went to
Flash Gordon's old
2003.
school.
And it went to 2003, where the at the point where the last weekly comic strip came out. That's a really good long-lived series, and they brought it back in 2023 to start weekly stuff, weekly topics on it again. I found that interesting, but they had rocket ships, alien worlds, and it's where the birth of a lot of our current sci-fi tropes: robots, alien ships, how they looked like, how a lot of those came about was during that time period, and I found that to be pretty interesting. And that whole era right there, they decided to call it the pulp era. And I don't know, it was kind of interesting hearing it called the pulp era, because then I thought of Pulp Fiction. I have no idea why. All right. So now here's a question. Back in those days, it was all about ray guns and pulp magazines and stuff like that. But at some point, we went from the ray guns and pulp magazines to asking more philosophical questions and still having ray guns and pulp magazines. So, what do you think the biggest question science fiction has ever tried to answer, and when did they try answering it? When did you see those questions start coming around the most?
Right from the beginning. And is there life outside of this universe?
You're not wrong. That has been the biggest question that will always be asked. I wouldn't even say outside this universe. I'd say outside the solar system.
Yeah. I mean, just outside of Earth in general. Is there life out there? And if there is, what would it be like? And are they more technologically advanced than us? Or are they worse, like cavemen? Or like, what is it? Like,
Yeah.
that has always been, like, anytime I think of sci-fi, I think of that.
That is the first question anybody thinks of.
Or time travel.
Time travel is a big one, but so is Frankenstein does it best. New life. So whether or not it's created by man, or where is it? if it's in the galaxy anywhere, where is it? Because we can't be the only ones. It's 400 billion stars, not counting planets.
We could.
The odds are astronomically. I'll put it this way.
That gets into another topic that we don't talk about on this show.
You are right, and I'm not going to go there, but it is an astronomical number. But if you think about it, a lot of the topics at this point, some people will say AI, some people will say humanity, some people will say civilization, whether it's civilization on Mars or civilization somewhere else. Are we the only humans? I see this in Dungeon Crawler Carl. I saw this in Jupiter Ascending. Humans being seeded.
Nice plug there. I like it.
I know, right? Humans being seeded on different planets. That's a topic I've seen more recently.
Here's my thing, is if there are aliens out there, now would be the perfect time for them to show up, because no one would believe it anyway.
True.
Because if you see a picture of it nowadays, if anybody posts anything on the internet that even looks like, I saw a video the other day of a cat that walked across a piano and it sounded like they played a song or something, and everybody immediately said, "Oh, that's got to be AI." Yeah. That's got to be AI. You could post a picture of an alien, like a video of on your iPhone of an alien walking down the middle of Main Street, and somebody would be like, "Oh, that's just AI." Mm-hmm. Nobody would believe it anyway. So now is the perfect time.
You could be a whole alien invasion fleet, and somebody would say, "Oh, that's just AI, man."
Yeah, it's just AI.
The Golden Age, though, is where you saw Isaac Asimov, Arthur C. Clarke, and the big and Heinlein, who were the.
We're back to Heinlein that you still don't remember what he did.
I know what he did now. All right, so Isaac Asimov is known for the Foundation series and the famous 3 laws of robotics. Arthur C. Clarke is best known for 2001: A Space Odyssey and his accurate predictions regarding satellite communications. And then Robert Heinlein or Heinlein, however you say his name, highly influential in shaping the trajectory of military and speculative fiction, like works like our favorite, Starship Troopers. And then Stranger in a Strange Land. They're apparently supposed to be the big 3 titans who defined the golden age of science fiction. They asked a lot of questions. A lot of their stuff became true, like satellite communications. And a lot of people, when you ask them questions about the very first, when you think sci-fi and space, a lot of them will say 2001: A Space Odyssey, where there's two primary things where AI gets worrisome. Skynet from why do I keep trying to say Transformers? Skynet from Terminator, and then the AI in 2001: Space Odyssey.
I'm worried about the robots from iRobot too.
I'll worry about those as the dogs that people are creating start getting smarter.
Well, they already have like dolls and stuff that they make that are ridiculously humanoid and have their own sentient thought. It's creepy.
All right. But a lot of these questions still matter. Now, my question is, why do these still matter? Why does AI, humanity, civilization, all that still matter? And it's because if you look at today, AI data centers are becoming a thing. I got a feeling by the end of next century, we will have either Earth will be gone as we know it, or we will have a Coruscant city planet style Earth.
Okay.
Oh, come on. You know, you would
Okay.
love to see a Coruscant style Earth.
You ready? You ready for something that's going to blow your mind, though?
What's that?
Something I just thought of the other day when I was thinking about sci-fi. And I don't know how it came in my head, but it did. But Starship Troopers, right?
Mhm.
The bugs they're fighting.
Mhm.
The bug type race that they're fighting, I should say. Don't they look really similar to the bug that comes to Earth in Men in Black?
You mean the giant roach?
The giant roach, when he comes out of the body at the end, that looks very similar to the creatures from Starship Troopers.
No, not really. Now I
Yeah.
think about it.
Oh, yes, they do. Yes, they do. They look very similar.
So
I
what are
was
you
like,
saying? The Men in Black caused the Star Trek Troopers War?
no. I'm saying that those two universes might be connected.
I will disagree with that one because I don't see the
Okay.
similarity in most of the insects. And now it's possible because you don't see all of the insects of Starship Troopers. There could be some we don't see, but it doesn't look anything like the brain bug. It looks nothing like the soldier
No,
bugs.
it doesn't look like the brain bug, but it does look similar to the soldier bugs.
The soldier bugs look like two giant pincers with legs. The one in Men in Black looked like a giant cockroach.
Kind of.
Kind of. Until Will Smith starts stepping on his auntie.
Anyway,
back to our topics. So this isn't as cohesive as it should be because I'm trying a new format and work with us here. I should have said at the very beginning. All right. Question 5 for topic 5. Do you think Star Trek is the most important sci-fi franchise ever made? Or do you think Star Wars is? If it's one of those two, and if not, which one is? Out of all the sci-fi, which one would be the more important genre defining?
I definitely don't think Star Trek is. We already know this. I don't think Star Trek is. I would say 2001: A Space Odyssey is probably more important to the space genre, maybe, than either Star Wars or Star Trek. And I'm a huge Star Wars fan because it's like, I don't know, like you said, the AI in it just it could happen, and that kind of makes it kind of iffy. But obviously, we've already discussed this. The most defining of the genre of science fiction, actually, you know what? I would say it's either Back to the Future or the Terminator series.
I don't think either of those, and I'm not going to say I'm a huge Star Trek fan, and I don't think Star Trek did have a big impact when it comes to social economical stuff, or society stuff during its time. But when it comes to the actual genre, the most important sci-fi franchise ever made, that's a tough one because I would have to go older than Star Trek.
I would say, honestly, I'm kind of almost leaning more toward. I I think Back to the Future has a really good case, but I think Terminator does as well, because Terminator is something that, with the trajectory we are heading, could happen, and it could be like a forewarning of what we need to watch out for when we're building this AI and stuff, that it doesn't get to the point where it can take over. Which
Yeah, but you
it
see,
might almost be there.
Terminator, it's not as much of a solid franchise as, say, Star Wars or Star Trek. It's a movie series franchise, but there's not a ton of stories written in that genre. Yeah, it touches on AI.
Yeah, I think
and
so
some time
Terminator 1
travel.
and Terminator 2 are very entertaining movies.
Yes.
Terminator 3 is the one that makes you wonder.
That's the one. Which one was that one?
That's the one with the girl robot that comes back.
Okay, I haven't seen that one yet.
Where like at the end of the movie, Skynet starts taking over. Like Skynet actually takes over the world. Like,
yeah, because
that's the one where it all comes to be.
I was wondering what you were going to talk about, because I have some bullets on here that were about optimistic future, exploration, diversity, more dilemmas, and how you can trace modern sci-fi back to those. If I really wanted to say a franchise, I would agree with you with Terminator based on what you said about Terminator 3, which, like I said, I haven't seen any of the newer ones since T2. I wanted to, but I have so much other stuff I see. I don't remember seeing 3. I might have. It's been so long.
3's the one with the female. It's like Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines or something like that, I think.
I've seen Terminator 1, and I barely remember it.
I don't think... I haven't seen a lot of the like new ones.
Like Salvation and stuff.
Yeah. But I definitely 1, 2, 3. But 3 is the one that like really like makes you think, because it's like we are getting to that point now where we are relying so much on AI that like we almost can't function without it.
True.
It's getting to the point where like,
and that's just in a very short time.
Very short time. Like within the last like 10, 15 years, it's gotten to the point where AI is starting to take over everything.
Not even that. I'd say in the last 5 years.
I know when we started doing these podcasts, we were talking about AI and how,
yeah, but we haven't been talking. But
it's gotten significantly more impactful since we started talking.
Since we started this show, it has become, it's skyrocketed.
You can't even buy a computer anymore that doesn't have an AI interface in it.
No,
unless you build your own.
And you can't even get away from that unless you go to older software. The 5000 series graphics card uses AI.
Right.
Now, AI as a tool in that regard helps the function of the component. Yeah, I'm okay with that. But there's students out there using AI to write research papers.
Oh yeah.
That's where,
but
I'm worried that AI can. Remember when we asked ChatGPT if it was creating a story about AI taking over, how it would do it?
Yeah, but here's the thing, though: the kids out there are using AI, like you said, to write these papers and stuff like that, and try and cheat their way through school. But on the flip side, the teachers now have AI that will detect if their students are using AI. And if you there's times you could be writing a paper by hand and it will still detect it and say, this could have been possibly written by AI. And they're automatically failing students because their AI said, oh, this must be AI. So,
now, an AI sitting there using AI to find plagiarism, I'm okay with, because there's just so many articles on the internet and stuff that you can find and copy sources from without properly citing them. But AI is arguably one of the more scarier things. And I will say yes. In that regards, because of where humanity is going now. Terminator wrote the genre that really tackled that situation. That and iRobot.
I'm going to throw out an AI movie for you right now. That is
AI.
No, it's obvious. It's oddly enough exactly the direction our world is going, and it scares me because AI is getting to the point where everything you do, like we said, kids can AI their way through school now, and they don't need to be smart. All they got to do is use AI to get them through school. And so as a humanity, it's making us dumber because we don't need to think because we can rely on AI. So humanity is moving toward the movie WALL-E.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I can't argue that one.
We're all going to just float around in little chairs and let the computers run our lives for us.
I'm pretty sure we had that discussion about the world becoming WALL-E. WALL-E
We're
is
getting there.
But when I talk about in terms of where we're going now, yes, Terminator is the most important franchise tackling or anything that talks about AI, robots, and stuff like that is really about all there.
Mm-hmm.
But
the scary thing is, though, like the scary thing with that, though, especially the WALL-E thing, is that the amount of resources it takes to run all the AI that we do nowadays is exactly what happened in WALL-E. We're going to suck our planet dry of our resources to do this, and then we're going to be floating around in space. And then we're going to be a sci-fi.
Yeah, we're heading that direction. So there are people out there, and I'm going to acknowledge this, that will say Star Trek or Star Wars because of the Star Trek, because of its optimistic future and its take on social cues at that time. And Star Wars because I don't know, because it's really good and it actually tackles a lot of things, especially if you go into the extended universe. Now, my question for you is, we've been beating around the bush on this. Well, maybe have, but is Star Wars really considered sci-fi or sci-fantasy?
Star Wars is Star Trek on politics.
Yeah. Because
it is a political Star Trek.
Because before Star Trek had the Dominion War and all of that going down, Star Wars came out in the 70s.
Yeah, even when they had all that going down, it's literally like the entire
Star
plot
Wars,
of Star Wars is politics.
But what I'm saying is Star Wars tackled the major governmental conflicts earlier than Star Trek. Star Trek tackled societal conflicts, not political conflicts, back in the 60s. They had some, but not at the scale of Star Wars.
Then get this. I'm going to take it a step further. You got Star Trek, which is society.
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars, which is political. And then you have Dune, which is religious.
Never thought of that. Mind blown, because I never thought of that. Now, Star Wars, I would consider science fiction if you actually look at how the technology is actually explained to operate and not just by going on what they call it.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Force is the only thing that's not really sci-fi. Lightsabers, there's ways they thought they can make them.
Yeah, I mean, the Force is more of like a magical thing.
Yeah.
But yes,
that
is
makes it more fantasy.
That is more fantasy, but it is also fiction. I mean,
it is fiction, but sci-fi, a lot of people describe sci-fi as a possible thing. Like the arc reactor in the MCU, we could potentially make. Warp drive, we could potentially make. Because antimatter is proven to exist. Matter exists. Stuff like that. But outside of the Force, a lot of the technology Star Wars uses can be used. They just tie in, and that's where I get a little What about Star Trek? Star Trek has telepathy. Star Trek has telepathic manipulation, whether it be, or telekinetic manipulation. So, really, what is sci-fi at this point? And I'm going to change one of the questions and ask, we're going to reattack that at the very end. So the next question I got though is, you notice how a lot of the older shows, all the ships were clean. Everything that went into space was really clean, beautiful, except for the Millennium Falcon.
Was clean-ish.
Why do you think people stopped believing the future would be clean and perfect? Firefly, Alien, Battlestar Galactica, The Expanse, Starfield. These are examples of shows or games that really show the dirtier side of sci-fi. Serenity is not it reminds me of the Millennium Falcon. It's being piecemealed together with whatever credits they can make at the time.
Yeah. It's more of a realistic take.
Battlestar Galactica. Battlestar Galactica is a take on it to where it's constantly in combat. If you look at the ship never gets fully repaired. They repair what they can and keep going.
Yeah, it's a more realistic take, I think. Like, back in the day, I don't know, if you watch, like, shows like The Brady Bunch and things like that from back in the day, those aren't science fiction, but this is the same way. The house was always neat and tidy. Everything was always clean. The mother made the dinner and put it on the table. That's just the way society was viewed back then. So that's the way it was portrayed. Where nowadays it's more real. Like,
and I think the time you see that outside of Star Wars, because of Star Wars, even the Mon Calamari ships after a battle looked like they were in good condition. But later into Star Trek Voyager's timeline is, so even Star Trek Voyager, to a degree, was guilty of this as well, because a ship lost 70,000 light years away from its home bases is still maintaining a pristine look every episode. But there is a time frame where you see the ship day after day after day. They have the equinox, which shows, hey, we've been here as long as you, but we're barely holding together. Your ship looks pristine. So they kind of tackled that a little bit in Star Trek Voyager. But you're right, you start seeing it more and more today because that's the more realistic. People are wanting to see more realistic views on sci-fi. The Expanse is another one that shows. Granted, The Expanse is the most physics accurate sci-fi show ever, but their ships aren't perfect. I like shows where their ships aren't perfect.
Okay, sir, I'm going to give you one more question. So choose your best one, because we still got to talk about Firefly, and I still got to talk about one other thing.
All right, so the last question. It was what I was ended the last topic before the dirtier. I forgot what that question was now. What were we talking about before I asked that question? My mind went blank.
Sci-fi.
So the question I'm going to ask is, what is science fiction? How, if you were trying to describe what science fiction is to somebody 100 years in the future, what we describe it now, and somebody came back in time and you're explaining what sci-fi is, say they're from under a rock in the future somewhere, or actually an alien from another planet comes here and they're asking you what sci-fi is. How would you describe sci-fi?
Well, I would have to describe sci-fi to an alien because I'd be in a sci-fi. No, I would say sci-fi is a futuristic look at what could happen or what could become.
That is actually one of the best ways I've heard that put. A lot of people, it doesn't need technology. Technology will help it set a futuristic look, but really, like you said, it's what can happen. It is, how will we persevere in the future, or how will this situation persevere in the future?
Right. A futuristic look at what could happen.
Mm-hmm. I will agree with you. I cannot argue that point. Let's get into Firefly.
First,
All right. First,
did you watch any Nintendo Direct?
I did not.
Dude, there were some massive announcements. Number one, they showed the trailer for a complete remaster, well, kind of remaster of all the Kingdom Hearts the Kingdom Heart bundles.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of like redoing those a little bit.
Okay.
And then that announcement was followed with the trailer for Kingdom Hearts 4.
Nice.
Which was amazing. And then they ended. They're like, okay, and our last announcement, and everybody's like, okay, what could top Kingdom Hearts 4, right? And they're like, it zooms out to a tapestry, and they're like, in the land of Hyrule, blah, blah, blah. And they start talking about about a Zelda game, right? And then all of a sudden you hear, dun dun dun, dun 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 dun, dun 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 dun, dun 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 dun. And the more they talk about it, they talk about the little boy who doesn't have a fairy. And then they showed the completely remastered Ocarina of Time that's coming out this year.
Oh,
and
wow.
Let me tell you, the only gameplay they showed was them zooming in on Link. It looked like Unreal, dude. Unreal Engine. Like, I'm not kidding. It looked so real. And the first thing that came to my brain was, man, those Skulltulas are going to be scary as hell, man. Like, if it's this realistic, some of the things, like the big giant hand boss, like some of the things you fight in that game are going to give kids nightmares, but it's going to be amazing. It's going to be so cool.
That is going to be creepy when you go to find Ganon.
Dude, they finally confirmed the rumor and showed a little snippet, just him. The only thing I wish they would have done, and it's just me and my fandom and my nerddom, is I wish when it zoomed in on Link, he's sitting there like shivering on the bed, and his like hand starts glowing a little with the Triforce. I wish at that point, like right at the end of the trailer, it would have went, "Hey, listen!"
Oh,
it would have been great. They missed a moment there.
Hey, listen!
Yeah, but
dude,
yeah, then they announced that it's going to be this year too.
I want to know, that means they've already done it and they're in post-production.
Yeah, that means it's almost out.
I want to know how they kept it quiet.
People have been speculating this game for a while.
People have been speculating, but nobody has officially leaked anything.
But it's just like, okay, so when they did a Super Mario RPG remake, same thing. It's just like they announced it and they're like, and it'll be out in like a month. And everybody's like, what? Or like, what was the other game that just recently came out that they did the same thing?
Starfield. When they released Shattered Space. We knew about
Starfield.
Well, no, Starfield. They released Shattered Space without telling anybody. They're like, oh yeah, and by the way, Shattered Space is out too.
Yeah, Starfield's been doing that since day one, though. There's like, oh yeah, there's this brand new thing that we're going to announce. Oh yeah, by the way, you could download it at the end of this, or you could buy it at the end of this episode. What? Yeah. It's what? Yeah, but yeah, dude, like when I tell you my heart was like skipping beats as soon as I heard Soraya's song start playing. I was like, that's Ocarina of Time. It's gotta be. I was freaking out.
Nice. That's awesome.
The graphics, you got to look up the graphics on it, dude. It looks so good. I can't wait.
I'll look up the graphics and take a look at it.
And it's Nintendo Switch 2, so I'm glad I have one of those.
I know,
because I will 100% be getting that game the day it launches.
Of course you will.
Oh my God, that's my favorite game of all time.
All right. So after everything we've talked about tonight,
Firefly.
Let's talk Firefly. Because, we mentioned Firefly a few times. So
Dude,
this episode, is this the heist one?
This is...
Yeah, this is the one where, this is episode where they went and stole the medicine. No, that was the last one. What was this episode?
Gosh, see, we watched it so late we watched it like over a week ago because we're recording later than we normally would.
Yeah, it's Ariel, the one where it's 10. Oh, no, this is the one where, what's his name, catches back up to him. And they get captured by the guy they did the train job for.
Oh, yep. Wait. Yeah.
This is the one where Mal is using techniques to keep, what's the pilot's name again? Wash alive by talking about how he would bang his wife and stuff like that. And he never realizes Mal's doing this to keep him alive.
Right. Keeping him angry,
keeping the adrenaline going.
Yeah, it's the one where Wash is jealous of Zoe and Mal and how much, stories they have together. So he interjects himself and doesn't want them to go off on another adventure. He wants to be a part of it and regrets that immediately. Yeah. I liked this episode. I thought it was a good character building episode. There wasn't, I won't say there wasn't as much action because there was a lot of action, especially when they go to rescue him and stuff. And River,
bam, bam, bam,
eyes closed, is just like bang, 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 just takes all the guys out.
And then she looks over.
And then Callie, Kaylee, she can't.
She's just like, Callie's just like, after River just pulls the gun out and goes bang, 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 she just open mouth and like her jaw, she has to pick it up off the floor.
Yeah, it's like, it kind of makes you wonder. Like, where did she learn to use a gun like?
Yeah, I know, right? But it shows you that she can tap into some abilities she didn't know she had.
Right. And it shows you she's got some abilities we don't know she has.
Yeah.
So,
like I said, my favorite scene is in Serenity.
But it also shows you, it also shows you like what a badass Book is. Like, he straps up and goes in. And they're oh, I thought you can't murder people. That doesn't mean I can't blow their kneecaps out. Like, what? What the heck, dude?
He can't kill people. He can wound them.
Yeah, I can severely wound people. Blow their kneecaps off. Like, what the heck?
Really. So we all know that Book has this hidden backstory that we know nothing really about. I really hope they dive into that in the animated show.
So do I.
Because I really want to know his backstory.
Something that as soon as the, Federation or whatever knows that he's the one with the ID card, suddenly they're like, oh yeah, let this man on immediately. There's something with him that's super important that we need to know about.
Yep. So I also really like how Wash, after everything's said and done, respects-ish Zoe and Mal's relationship a little bit because he realizes how those two work together.
I love how she makes him dinner and sits down and they go to, he goes to start eating it. And then Mal comes in and he goes, oh, well, it's time to collect. He said that I get to sleep with you. And she's like, oh, really?
Oh, okay. Yeah, the awkward kiss.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, he said it. He said we get to go. And then they're like, he's like, no. And he gets up and takes her. He goes, we're going to bed. And then Jane comes in and he goes, oh, food. starts eating his food.
The awkwardness they make that kiss. Like, God, we don't really want to do this.
How far are you going to let it go? I don't know. The episode was really cool, though. I liked watching the whole team band together to go save Mal.
The last time Mal was captured, Jane wanted to leave him. And this time, Jane's actually fighting to go get him.
Yeah, Jane was leading the charge. But that's because in the last episode, Mal saved Jane's life. Like,
Mal put him in his place.
yeah. I mean, he showed him, like, this is the crew. You're part of the crew until you're not. So,
but it actually shows character development with Jane too.
Yeah, because he could have been like, yeah, xing shang chong xing yu, or whatever Chinese words they use whenever they swear.
I know, right?
And then he could have just left him to die. But
yeah.
Well, he did die, but they brought him back.
Yeah.
And I bet they wish they hadn't.
All right. So, can't wait till the next episode, which will be episode 11. There will be some changes going forward, just for the short term.
For a little bit.
Archon has a lot going on in his life right now with work and available free time to spend with his family. So, I will keep the show going. We're not going to take a
can. I will be here.
And
but if I can't, Rook will hold it down.
Yep. And he's not permanently leaving or anything. It's just this time of year, his kids aren't in school. Everything's going on. So it's just really hectic for him.
Got a lot going on with work. Like, I mean, I'm putting in close to 60 hours a week right now. There's a lot of transitions going on, and I just need a little bit of a break from some things. And like I said, if it comes time to record and I'm like free, I will let Rook know. I'll be like, hey man, I'm good to go if you want me, and I'll still be here, but there might be a few weeks that I'm, just taking a little break.
And it won't just be me. I'll bring in a guest host. It'll be entertaining still. You'll still get the same quality content you're getting now. It's just, we'll have a guest here or there.
But you may have to wait a few weeks to hear more about Firefly, because we're not doing Firefly without me.
Or our wonderful, way off-topic conversations.
Well,
all right, everybody. So as normal, you can reach us out on our Discord, because we would love to carry on this conversation either through the comments down below or on our Discord, which is discord.gg/raw podcasts. Or if you want to talk to us about interview requests or being a guest on the show, especially during this period, you can hit us up on our email at podcastraw@gmail.com or on the Facebook. We have a Raw and Nerdy Facebook page that has like 50-something followers, apparently. I keep getting all the notifications, but I think it's helping. I'm starting to get more active on these things. But
and like and subscribe on YouTube.
Like and subscribe. Yes, it does. It's the best way to show support for this show. And give us 5 stars if you're just listening to the podcast, because I still release this on everything, including all of our podcasts. I hope everybody has a great night, and we will see y'all next week. Y'all say nerdy.
Great week, guys.